Hey guys, happy Wednesday, youth night. This is not Phil.
Nope.
This is not Brendan.
Nope.
Brendan's over there tonight. This is John. Everybody say hi, John. I guess Phil's at work again.
Yep.
It
Saving the world.
seems like he works a lot. I'm just Phil. Phil. Hey, I got some announcements for you real quick. Okay, so as far as the youth group is concerned, I know the committee's been working hard for Jesus Camp 2020, and they have had to deal with summer school changes and date changes, and so and with COVID-19. Long story short, they have decided this year to cancel Jesus Camp. So if that was something you're looking forward to, I apologize. That's a tough decision that they had to make, and I'm glad I'm not on that committee that I had to deal with that. Having said that, Revolution is coming, and September 5th through the 7th. So Friendship Youth, we're going to have our own Revolution. So, Labor Day weekend. I am still working on a float trip. If you're interested in going to a high school and up float trip on a Monday, I know some of you have to work and things like that. That's fine. Comment or message me or text me or something so that I know what the interest is. I'm trying to decide if we're going to do the float or if we're going to just have a big swimming day somewhere. So anyway, get with me on that, youth, and we'll go from there. Sound good? John, how you doing tonight?
Doing good.
John's going on vacation.
Going on vacation.
Yeah, going to the Mount Rushmore, to the
Yeah.
Badlands,
Yeah,
Dakotas.
Chip weight, some stone up there. They
Yeah.
want me to do a little artistry, improve it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I got a couple get to know you questions tonight. It's real short, real quick. Top of your head, tell me your favorite cartoon character. Now, I'm not talking cartoon show. I'm talking singular character, right? We were talking about this at lunch the other day, and I'm just like, I don't know. Brendan's here with us tonight. Nathan drove back in tonight. We got a few other guests here tonight. Dylan and Maddie are hanging out with us. Gage is here. So anyway, what's your favorite cartoon character? Brendan.
Thought about mine. I'm from a different cartoon era than most everybody in here, so I'm going with Perry the Platypus.
Wow.
Really?
Oh,
Perry-
Solid.
I don't know if the microphone's picking you up tonight or not, but he said what? Perry
Perry the Platypus.
the Platypus.
Agent P.
Agent P. All right.
New schoolers.
All right. What you got?
Elmer, Bud.
Elmer Fudd. Okay. All right. Get behind that. You guys got one?
I think so.
Go ahead. Maddie, go ahead.
Larry the Cucumber? I think.
Larry the Cucumber.
I've been watching a lot of
Nice.
VeggieTales lately with Gage.
Nice. The cucumber though, huh?
Yeah.
Not
Bob is not really a good friend. I'm rewatching them.
Okay.
Bob the Tomato is not a good friend.
Okay. So Bob on VeggieTales was just not a good friend,
Not
she
really, he's
says. Okay.
bossy.
All right, Nathan, go.
I think Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Wow.
Avatar, Last Airbender,
D&D.
Sokka. Is that what she's? Okay, never seen it. I honestly don't know what mine is. Dylan, what do you got?
I was gonna say Katara from Last Airbender.
Wow.
Katara from Last Airbender. Okay, I don't know, man. Like, I really Scrooge McDuck. I don't know.
Who?
Scrooge McDuck.
What was he on?
The duck.
Scrooge
McDuck.
McDuck. The rich uncle
On what?
from
I'm with
from from the DuckTales.
Oh.
I'm with you.
Okay. All right. Brendan, what do we got?
Ethan says Timmy Turner. That's a great choice.
Ethan says Timmy. Who's Timmy Turner?
Timmy Turner?
Yeah.
Odd Parents?
Very
Fairly
Odd
Odd
Fairly
Parents?
Odd Parents.
I have literally
Mom and
never
Dad
watched
never let me
that.
watch it.
Wow.
Never watched it. All right. What else? What else you got?
That's why you turned out so good.
Hey, Matt Corbett also loves Agent P.
Okay.
Dad says Wile E. Coyote.
Okay.
I love.
Wile E. Coyote for Phil.
I really liked Roadrunner until I rewatched it. It was like,
Yeah.
there's really no point in this show.
Yeah. I like Roadrunner. Come on.
It was good.
Okay. All right.
Kids.
We got
Matt said.
I don't know.
Matt says Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes
I don't know if this counts.
and Storm Shadow. Snake Eyes and Storm
I
Shadow.
don't know.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
Sorry.
I'm going Optimus Prime. Bam, done.
I don't know if this counts. In fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it does not count. But Anthony Broker says Michael Jordan from Space Jam.
Michael Jordan
I
from
don't think
Space
he
Jam.
classifies as a cartoon.
No, wait. Judges, I'll allow it. Anthony Broker for the win. Anthony, good to see you tonight. Michael Jordan from Space Jam, brilliant. Okay, I got one more question. If you got any more of those, Brendan will keep checking the comments. You just throw them out there, and we'll catch up with it. But here's the next question. And you guys, some of you guys out there, are gonna be like, I don't watch that. But you're all lying. All right? What is your favorite reality television show? I don't watch no reality TV. You're a liar. Yes, you do. Everybody does. What's your favorite reality TV show? I think for me, I go through phase. This counts like primetime game shows too, right? So like, I just started watching Holy Moly. Anybody seen the Holy Moly?
No.
Who's
Yeah.
down with Holy Moly? It's this giant mini golf game where they just make fun of everything.
So is it still mini golf?
Yeah.
If it's giant.
It's mini golf meets Wipeout. You guys
Oh,
remember
is that,
Wipeout?
Is that,
Yeah, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Wipeout and mini golf had a baby, it would be Holy Moly. And that's what I'm talking about, all right? What's your favorite reality show? What do you guys got? Anybody?
Matt Corbett says Holy Moly and Ultimate Tag.
I haven't seen Ultimate Tag yet. I must watch this show.
Okay, so I don't watch TV anymore.
Yeah?
We have Netflix. And we don't really watch it much, but I really liked Duck Dynasty when it was on. That's how
Okay.
long ago.
I like Duck
It's been
Dynasty.
watched.
Uncle Si passed away, right?
He did?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I didn't know
Si.
that.
Uncle Si passed away.
When?
6 months ago, maybe.
I didn't
Something
know
like
that.
Yeah, Uncle.
Because I saw a post and I saw that it was fake.
Could be fake.
I hope it's fake.
Could be a hoax. Why would
I'm
you
just
make
gonna-
up a
I'm just
hoax
gonna
about
bring
Uncle?
you some good news, Josh.
Some
I don't
good
think
news.
Cy passed away.
Why
I
would
think
you
he's
make up a
alive and
hoax
well.
about Uncle Si though? Like, why would you go through that kind of trouble? What's your favorite reality show, John?
I was trying to think. I just don't know.
Didn't you used to watch with your girls
Boys?
Dancing with the Stars or something like that?
No, that's Randy.
Oh,
why
that's
he couldn't
Randy.
Come play basketball.
That's Randy. He always misses out on fellowship basketball and fellowship events because he's watching Dancing with the Stars. That's right. Sorry, Randy. Shots
Yeah,
fired.
yeah, really.
Um,
I'm thinking.
okay. All right. What you got? Favorite reality show?
I'm kind of reaching back here too. I used to watch Man vs. Wild a lot.
Man versus Wild, she says. Okay. All right. What about, you said Duck Dynasty. What do you got?
I'll say something similar. Man versus food.
Man versus Food. Nice. I'm in.
Oh, I like
I'm in on that one.
Alaskan Bush People. Is that reality?
Oh,
That was
Alaskan
a-
Bush
That
People.
was a funny show.
You know what's kind of addicting? Is Wicked Tuna.
Oh yeah.
You guys ever watch that? Like,
Yeah.
you ever pass by one of these stupid, like, Discovery Channel shows and then, like, before you know it, 8 hours have passed? That's my house. That's what happens in my house. All right, what do you got? Anything else in the comments?
Okay. I don't think so.
Anthony Broker says Pawn Stars. I like the Pawn Stars, Anthony. I like the all the items.
I haven't got there.
I used to get into Storage Wars too, but you gotta like fast forward their bad acting and then just look for the items. You know what I'm saying?
Now the dad did die on Pawn Stars.
What dad? Which one? The
The old man.
really? Like the auctioneer guy?
No,
Oh,
you're,
Pawn
it's
Stars.
Pawn Stars. Not
Oh,
Storage
oh,
Wars.
Pawn. I got mixed up on Storage Wars. Yes, the old man.
They
on
call him the
Pawn-
old man.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
Cy is still alive. Google did not give him a death date.
Google has confirmed Uncle Si is alive. So I'm sorry I put false information out there. Okay, We are wrapping up our series tonight on leadership, and as you guys know, I've said it before, we've just kind of scratched the surface on leadership. We could talk about that for probably a solid year as far as foundational qualities. We didn't even get into the foundation. We didn't get into the intricacies of each level, but tonight, if you're picturing the staircase, level 1 was learning. Level 2, the second step was
Serving.
performing. The third step was
Keep guessing, Brennan.
we're gonna let Brendan keep
Making
guessing.
leaders.
The third level
Lead.
was leading. The
Then
fourth
making
level was
leaders.
last week where it was developing leaders, and tonight is the basically the top of the staircase. Yes, it's only got 5 steps. It's like my house. Developing leaders who develop leaders. This is rarefied air for a leader. This is actually kind of a difficult place to get to. A couple mindsets that I want to talk about tonight on that, and then we're going to go into a biblical example and a historical example. So, level 5 leaders have defined moments and ideas that echo down through generations, profoundly impacting the world. You're going to see that in the biblical example tonight. Basically, these are the leaders that train other leaders who train other leaders to surpass them, which is a very humbling place to be. So that's why I say it's rarefied air. You have to have a super humble spirit to want someone to succeed so well that they surpass you. Like, that's next level leadership, okay? At this level, it's more about who the leader is and what they stand for more than what they do that makes the impact. So what's your character and integrity look like? And yes, those 2 words, in my opinion, go hand in hand. What does your character and integrity look like? Okay? Who you are as a person, so much more important than what you're actually doing with your life. Okay? That kind of influence has an impact that's more profound than anything else. This level of leader, they surround themselves with leaders that will have that potential to eclipse them, okay? So in John 3:30, Jesus is just about to begin his ministry, okay? And John the Baptist, who was the forerunner of Christ, is talking about it, and he said, I must decrease so that he must increase. And that is such a profound statement, and it applies to this level of leader. Man, you're at the peak, okay? So when you have that kind of mentality where put me in the background and let these other leaders outshine, that's the pinnacle of leadership. I also want to kind of parallel, last week we talked about developing leaders. Because I'm in ministry, John's in ministry, we kind of paralleled that with making disciples, okay? Brennan and I talked last week about the importance of pouring your life into the life of someone else. This level here, if you're saying developing leaders who develop leaders, parallel that with making disciples who make disciples. So you're pouring your life into someone so much to the point where now they're able to pour their life into someone else so that that person can pour their life into someone else. And you're training up leaders in the church and leaders in ministry. And it's really, that will have more of a profound impact on our community than anything else, which is desperately needed in today. This level is about legacy. It's about changing the status quo of that outlives the leader. Okay? Making it a foundational impact on the world that far outlives you. That's called legacy. Each week of this study, we've done kind of a historical figure and a biblical figure. So, I mean, when you're talking about the pinnacle of leadership, what better biblical example can you have than the greatest teacher of all time? John's going to talk about that.
Excited to talk about Jesus tonight. I'm going to be looking mainly in the book of Matthew, Josh, 9 and 10. I'm not going to use any specific, set of scripture or anything, but when Josh asked me to take this part of the broadcast, first I didn't know which direction to go, Josh, and you kind of told me a direction to kind of go. And so about leaders, making leaders, and definitely agree, Jesus, the greatest leader of all time. And Jesus took some young men, turned the world upside down with these men. Most of the time, when you're talking about the apostles, who do you think about? Well, you probably think about John, Peter, or maybe even think about whenever there was 12. Later they got known, but I'm saying you might have thought of Judas, all right, but I want to talk about Matthew.
Judas was the bad kid in the youth group.
He was the bad kid in the youth group.
He's the one you had to kick out of class, you know what I'm saying?
He was the bad one, that's right. But anyway, I had to bring some notes because my memory's not as good as it once was, but I want to kind of cover six ways that Jesus developed leaders, okay? And I'm going to use Matthew as an example of what he did, because sometimes whenever we're looking to disciple someone and a leader making a leader, we want to find the best one that we think. Well, this is a clean guy, best clean-cut guy, best dude. We're going to make him our leader or try to train him up. But that's not what Jesus did. I mean, Jesus took some young men. They worked, some fishermen. But one of them was a little different, and that was Matthew. Yeah. Because he was a tax collector, all right? And so if you're looking on dirt, trying to find dirt, Jesus could find dirt on Matthew. That's where he found him, at the tax collector booth. And but the way to the way to develop is you got to know what you're looking for. Right. And Jesus wasn't looking for dirt; he was looking for gold. And that's the first way. Look for gold. And what Jesus found in Matthew was a little bit different because most people don't see on the inside what Jesus seen. And so in Matthew, Jesus was looking for the gold, and he did. He found a man with faith, which he needed. And he found a man that was full of commitment, a man that was generous. I know that kind of sounds out of context of being a tax collector, but certainly Jesus knew what he was doing. Secondly, when he chose Matthew and with the other leaders, Josh, Jesus offered them dignity and brotherhood. I mean, when you think about a tax collector like Matthew, nobody was his buddy. I mean, he wasn't the good old boy that you put around. You put your arm around his neck and say, hey, man, follow me. But, Jesus, when he was picking these guys out, he said, follow me and I will make you to become fishers of men. And so he had a few short years to teach him, but he taught them so many incredible things during that time. And after the fact, in chapter 9, the book of Matthew, I mean, which was totally not cool to do in a day, Jesus goes back to Matthew's house. With Jesus going back to Matthew's house, so did the sinners. They came too, okay? Because, I mean, lost people do what lost people do. And that's who they hung with. And so Jesus opened a door of a great opportunity. Was he made fun of? Yes. Did everybody know what Matthew would become? No. We'll look at that at the very last about the book of Matthew. But this wasn't simply just to eat a meal. This meant that Jesus was treating Matthew, and Jesus was teaching Matthew's friends, his brothers and sisters, about they had dignity too. Okay? They might have been what we would consider lower class, didn't like them, dishonest, sinners, whatever you want to classify. But Jesus gave them brotherhood and he gave them dignity. I mean, here's the Son of God saying, hey, I know what your life is. You come follow me. I'm going to make you into something, because Jesus was looking for gold. Yeah. All right? And so that's kind of the second thing. The third thing was Jesus had invited those men into a training community. And what better trainer than Jesus? We find it in the book of Matthew chapter 9 again. But think about what Matthew's seen. He's following Jesus, okay? New kid on the block, young guy, tax collector, nobody's like, maybe wonder, why did Jesus want me? I mean, the Son of God wants me to go be, an apostle. Well, Matthew sees Jesus raise a dead girl. I mean, man, I'm telling you what, that freaks somebody out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, can you imagine going to a funeral home today? Some guy walks up and goes, hey, come forward. Can you imagine the people running out of the funeral home, scared? He was there. So Matthew watches Jesus raise, a dead girl, brings her to life. He heals a woman that's bleeding profusely. Jesus opens the eyes of two blind men. Matthew sees him cast out a demon. He's seen him preach in many towns, and he's seen him heal a lot of diseases, all right? And so what Jesus did was he put his arm around him and he said, hey, not only am I going to come into your community and minister to your people and make you feel like you have some dignity, but I'm going to take you into my world. Because if I'm going to make you to become a fisher of men, you got to see what I'm doing. Because a trained leader needs to see what another leader's doing. And hey, I want to tell you guys out there listening, don't think I've mastered this or Josh or anybody else. Because we all make mistakes. And I'm going to get to that in just a minute.
But we're
also.
continuing the first step throughout this whole process, which was learning. We're continuously learning this process.
Right. So the best context to develop leaders into being leaders is to invite them into your world.
Yeah.
You got to spend time. You've already talked about that. You got to spend time, put some time in with them, and invite them to do the things that you're already doing, and train them on the job. And by the way, we don't do anything new.
That's true.
We're going into God's world. God's already working, man.
Right.
I mean, he invites us in to carry out his work. So don't come in going, hey, I got this new great idea and concept. No, Jesus done working on it.
Yeah.
He's just letting you be a part. Fourth, Jesus gave Matthew authority, and that's hard. Like, I find that hard as a pastor, especially first, was giving something over to somebody and then worrying, man, are they going to do it right? Am I going to get yelled at? Is, somebody in the church going to come up and go, Brother John, it's kind of like you as a youth pastor. You keep me on edge. Like, what John's going to come up with next?
Well, I mean, that's true.
That is true.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Right.
Yeah, as a youth leader, I'm just saying.
Yeah. So check this out, though. So in giving Matthew authority, man, you got to understand, Matthew's collecting taxes. He's probably ripping off, cheating people. Now he's on the front line. I mean, he's with Jesus. And now, man, this is where it gets real right here. And so Jesus has to do something, and that's give him some authority. In Matthew chapter 10, Jesus gave Matthew, along with the other disciples, authority to heal diseases, cast out evil spirits, and he sent them out to do what he was doing. If you're going to train a leader, you got to give them some authority to do it, and you got to trust them, and that is hard. Like trusting somebody that's going to do the job, because they're probably not going to do it like you, Josh.
Well, when you hand something over to somebody, it's real it's real easy human nature to kind of micromanage that, right?
Right.
Like that's just how we're wired. We're like, no, I wanted this done like this. Well, I know you had a different idea for it, but I wanted it done like that. You're right. Give them the ability to do it themselves and succeed.
That's right. Because we're not all going to do it the same, okay? Kind of the concept's the same, but we're going to go about it in a different way. Check this one out, number 5. Jesus believed in those leaders that he was training. You know what? As a pastor, I want people to believe in me, okay? I mean, sometimes that's earned. Sometimes you just expect it, but it's in my heart, man.
Yeah.
And Jesus had to believe in these men. And what's kind of neat about that, we're going to find out here in just a minute, was it's hard to turn over those reins. But you remember at the beginning, Josh, I said Jesus found gold. Okay, he knew. He knew. So don't dig up the dirt. Jesus could have dug up a lot of dirt. That's
Yeah.
not what he was trying to do. He was trying to raise a leader, and if you will, he was taking a piece of coal and he was turning it into a diamond. That's what he was doing. But Jesus believed in Matthew. This quote from John Maxwell. He said, anyone can see people as they are, and we tend to do that. Remember I said Jesus went into the house of the sinners. It gave him some brotherhood. It gave him some dignity. I mean, here's the Son of God in a place that they thought he'd never be in. But it takes the leader to see what they can become. Because a lot of times a person can't see that in themselves. I don't think Matthew was sitting at the tax collector's booth and said, man, if Jesus comes by today, it's right here, I could probably be a great apostle. You know, we always look at Paul as one of the greatest, but Matthew's a pretty cool dude when it comes to apostle, from where he came from. But not only the leader being able to see what that person can become, but try to encourage them in that direction and believe they're going to do it. I fail in those areas sometimes, because sometimes I feel like if I don't have the situation under my control, then it just ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, but man, you got to trust in those people you call.
Yeah.
Jesus said, I'm not always going to be with you, but here's what: you see me do this and this and this, I'm going to give you the authority to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk over here. You go to villages and you go do all this stuff. You know, Jesus found gold in what he had chose. And Jesus, though, I think he also had, and I think we have to do that. We got to have high expectations whenever we're training leaders up, because I think if we don't, I think that person that we're training can see that we don't have any trust in them, any faith in them. And for them to hold their head up high and be a great leader, then, man, they got to be believed in. You know, you don't want to say, well, if you think you can do it, you know, it's going to be tough. I don't know if you can do it. You know, that tells a lot about me. Like, I must not have trained them very good. Okay.
One of the greatest traits of a leader is being an encourager and lifting others up, edifying.
Yep. Believe in them and see them grow in that direction. Last, Josh, second chances, third chances, and fourth chances. We've all messed up, right? I mean, I've messed up a ton. I look back early in ministry of some of the boneheaded, stupid stuff that I said from the pulpit. I'm like, now I'm thinking, did you really say that? And I'm like, yeah, I really said that, you know, or did you really believe that? And I'm like, yeah, I did. I really believe that, you know. And then you learn, you know. I'm glad God didn't give up on me, you know. And I'm sure sometimes God's like, son, you know what you're doing. He's like, hold on, Dad, it's okay. He's gonna be all right. But anyway, Matthew was not the perfect disciple. We just don't hear about him a lot. On one occasion, a man had asked him to heal a boy who had seizures. Matthew couldn't do it. He lost his faith. You know, it wasn't that he technically couldn't do it. He wasn't doing what the Lord had told him to do. On another occasion, he was bickering with the others on who was the most important. You know, when we get to your kingdom, who's going to be the greatest? You know, he was thinking pretty highly of himself. I mean, hey, this dude was casting out demons and all kinds of stuff. Some of that stuff might have went to his head, but Christ never gave up on him. Kind of the biggest thing, though, you know, it's kind of like I taught on Sunday night, was people have become unprofitable. When Jesus was arrested and crucified, Matthew and some others, you know, they ran away. You know, and for me, you know, when something's going bad with me, like you guys know some of the guys that are leaders here and stuff like that. When things are going bad in my life, man, I don't need you to run from me.
Right.
I need you to pull me close. I need you to get right by my side, because, man, it's tough. I mean, here's Jesus being arrested and crucified, and those closest guys are running.
Yeah.
It's not that they weren't capable. They were capable. But they weren't all the way developed yet. But Jesus still had faith in them. And so there were numerous times that he messed up. You know, some were moral failures, other were ministry failures. There were some setbacks, but Jesus really didn't allow the setbacks to derail Matthew's potential. And what I told you about a while ago was we find the greatness of Matthew. Because actually in the book of Acts, chapter 1, we see Matthew named as an apostle. An apostle is one that walked and talked with Christ. And so I'm sure there were times when, I mean, I wasn't there, of course. Some of you think I'm that old, but I wasn't there. That these apostles did stuff, you know, if it were me, I'd be like, man, I ain't believing that. You know, it'd be like if your closest friends let you down. I mean, these guys walked together, talked together, stayed together for these several years, these young men, and now they're gone. You know, and Matthew was too. But then, of course, we find out Peter, some of the boldest preaching he did was later on when he really came to himself and realized. And so Jesus chose gold in all of them. I'd like to read you this. This is not mine. Jesus took a despised man through the process of leadership development. And we see Matthew named in Acts chapter 1 as an apostle. One of the men the Holy Spirit came upon at Pentecost, and one of the leaders of a mega church in Jerusalem, a tax collector in a booth, ripping people off. And here he becomes one of the greatest apostles that there was named, and became this person in those towns. And so Jesus was the greatest leader, raising great leaders. And so I just hope that through all of us, and I know he does, God sees gold in us too when others see failure. So
The greatest teacher that ever lived, the greatest leader that ever lived, took that group of young boys.
I say misfits, honestly.
I mean, some of them were teenagers. So, you can go back and forth on this, but it's really Jesus, one adult sponsor, and his youth group changed the world through the development of those men.
Yeah.
Changed the world. It's fantastic.
Yep.
So I was thinking.
Uh-oh. I need to get the deacons because I know I'm in trouble.
We might have to call a meeting. I was thinking, I'm like, okay, so like, man, there's a lot of great leaders in what we consider our history, right? Like, and I'm thinking, who has really, truly reached this level? And like, how am I gonna, like, what's a historical example look like of this level? And I'm thinking, Bill Belichick? All the coaches that was under Bill Belichick, and I'm like,
Was he a coach?
and I'm like, nah. Now they're all head coaches, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting Bill Belichick.
Kurt Warner?
I mean, how honest is Bill Belichick? Kurt Warner.
Well, I'm just asking.
I mean, we're not gonna talk about.
All right.
We're not talking about mediocrity.
Okay.
Kurt Warner. We're talking
All
about
right.
greatness. So then I went to like, okay, so you know who was a great leader and like built leaders?
Are you going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys?
No. Well, I could. Bing. No, Walt Disney. But I'm not. I think now I'm not gonna go there either. Here's the deal: the greatest leader that we've probably ever known in our country is George Washington. And we're gonna talk about George Washington for just a minute. By the way, he's on Mount Rushmore. Did you know that?
Oh, I'm going to go see him.
Did you
Actually,
know that?
my birthday, his birthday is on my birthday.
Really?
February
Like his
22nd.
birthday or President's Day?
No,
Because that's
his
two different
birthday.
things.
I know, they changed it. You can't change a man's birthday. He was born
Okay.
on February 22nd.
George Washington. Yeah. Mount Rushmore. Chisel a little piece off of George
Oh, I'll do
Washington.
it. Thank
So
you. No,
listen.
I'm not.
Dear Secret Service, red flag. Okay, so here's the deal. We can't really dive into the life of George Washington tonight. We just can't. We don't have that kind of time. We could probably sit here and talk for a couple weeks just on George Washington. But I just want to talk about the integrity of this farmer, this wealthy farmer, who only served out of a sense of duty. Like the service that he did to this country was because he felt like he was called to do it out of duty, not out of power, not out of money or anything else, because he felt it was his duty. So let's skip into 1783. So here's what happened. In 1783, the signing of the treaty between the U.S. and Great Britain had happened, and Washington thought, okay, my time as a public servant has come to an end. I can go home. I can relax. I can be a family man. I can farm. And he did that for a minute. But they called him up and they said, hey, George. I'm sure that's how the conversation went. Yo, George. What's up, Thomas?
Do you know his wife's name?
Who? George Washington? Who, Martha?
Martha, yeah.
Martha.
Martha.
Martha. Okay. So here's what happened. He spent all this time leading the revolutionary troops.
Because his wife told him to.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. he's smart. And he did that. He fought in other wars. He was being a voice for the Constitution as it was being written. And now it's his time to retire as a gentleman and a family man. Fast forward, 1787, they call him up. They say, hey, George, what's going on? I need you to be the head of this committee at this constitutional convention in Philadelphia. And George is like, man, all right, I'll do that. I'll come and be the head of this committee. And so he did, and he went. Through that convention, his leadership skills, I mean, they were already well known. Like, everybody knew who he was. He was, I mean, one of the most well-known figures in the country. But his leadership skills shone through so much that the delegates were like, this guy needs to be our first president. And that's what they asked him to do. Or to run anyway. There was an election. And George is like, I'm not doing that. I'm done. I'm retiring. He's like, my farm is just back up and running. You know, he's wealthy. He has no need to go be president of the United States. He said, I'm going to leave the governing to someone else. But the public opinion was so strong and so overwhelming that he eventually gave in. They went through the election. He became the first president in 1789. So, here's what happened while he was president. First of all, there's no manual. You're the first. There's no predecessor to give you their exit interview. Think anybody ever listens to those, by the way? I'm sure.
Well, they listen. They go.
Yeah, okay. As soon as you walk out the door, I'm changing
Doing
everything.
it my way.
All right, so he had no manual. He had no interview. He was very careful in how he conducted himself in foreign and domestic business affairs. Knowing that his actions in every step that he took would determine how future presidents acted. Now, wouldn't it be nice to not to get political, but wouldn't it be nice to have some elected officials that felt like they were serving out of a sense of duty? That'd be nice.
They all say they do.
Right. Here's the deal. He worked hard to set an example of fairness, prudence, and integrity. 4 decades, over 4 decades of public service. Not out of desire, out of obligation, out of service. A leader among leaders. So those who followed him, that were around him, that he trained up, that would become future presidents and the next presidents and vice presidents, kind of shaped our nation there in the beginning. They all kind of knew what each other stood for. Even though they disagreed on things, they knew what the end goal looked like. And through teaching each other leadership, we're still one of the, even though it may not feel like it sometimes, we're one of the greatest countries in the world.
We are.
And I know there's a lot going on right now. And my heart breaks for every angle of it.
That's right.
But we need leaders to rise up. Students, listen to me. You have the capability of great leadership. But you have to put the work in. We have to put the work in. You have to go through the process of learning, performing, leading, developing other leaders, and then developing other leaders who can develop other leaders. You got to put the work in. I got to put the work in. There's going to be a time in your life, whatever arena you go into, whatever, whether it be family, work, career, school, whatever, but you're going to be called on to lead. You're going to be called on to lead. And I just hope that when that time comes, you have put the work in. You have listened to some of the words that we've given you over the past 5 weeks. You've listened to some of the nuggets of truth about leadership, and you're willing to put the work in because you're capable of greatness, and don't ever let anybody tell you that you're not. Because you are. Every one of you listening to me right now is capable of greatness. I don't want you to get frightened when leadership opportunities happen. Because a lot of people will get scared away from those leadership opportunities. Those opportunities are meant to inspire. Use those opportunities to inspire others, who will then inspire others. So here's my last question for you. I want you to ask this as we're going to wrap up tonight. I want you to ask yourself, what makes you come alive? Because this world needs people, needs leaders who are passionate about something, who have come alive. What makes you come alive? Go do that. Are you passionate about what you do? Even though you may not like what you do, can you make the best of it though? And be a leader in that arena, right? Or look, this world, people are searching for a cause. What better cause than the cause of Christ?
Yeah.
Where you can explain to somebody the gospel of Christ and change their whole world if they're willing. Be passionate about that. Find something that makes you come alive, go do that. That's what this world needs. It needs people that come alive, and it needs leaders to lean on. Got anything else?
Well, just, talking about those apostles and leaders. Man, students, I want you to know, it's not going to take 11 of you to turn your school upside down. I'm talking about for Christ.
Yeah.
It's going to take one of you.
Yeah.
Just one. One that's willing to take the stand. I mean a strong stand.
Yeah.
And get out.
An unshakable stand.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'll catch on. There's enough others that'll come on board.
That's right. Man, I wish you guys just pursue greatness. All right. Brendan's out of town next week. John's out of town next week. Nathan's out of town next week.
We never know. He's already back.
So I think Phil's back next week. Probably going to be me and Phil. Probably going to talk to you next week about what does true joy look like. I mean true like joy, and not like, well, I don't like my job, so I can't be happy. No, you can. You can be happy in whatever situation you're in, and we're going to talk about it next week.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Will you pray? And we'll
Sure
get out
will.
of here. We'll be off.
Yep. Lord, thank you for this night you've given us, and for those that are watching the broadcast this evening, I pray for each and every one of them, God. I just pray that you work in their life. Thank you for letting us be a part of your place here, and for those that make this broadcast possible. And we just pray for those that prayer's been requested for here at this church. And we want you to know, Lord, we love you tonight, and just help us to be not only followers of you, Lord, but in order to be a good leader, Lord, we got to be servants. Thank you for showing us the way of servitude. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.